smarts a real form of intelligence or just coping skills from unstable environments?
You want to start it off?
I think street smarts become an instinct, more or less. I feel like it's a way of maneuver in your own setting. So when you grow up somewhere, let's have the idea that you never move. When you grow up somewhere, the way you maneuver around your own area is your instinct. That's what you would call street smarts. I could bring somebody from somewhere else into my neighborhood and know how to conduct myself around my neighborhood, who to speak to. They wouldn't know all of that because they're not from here. That's why I would call it instincts. It being a form of intelligence that someone can learn, I think it's more of a thing where you have to be there and do it to learn it. So it's not something you can write down on paper and learn.
It's not. I don't really see it like that because, okay, cool. So we're in the environment. So let's say on the news you hear Newham's dangerous, crime rate's this, crime rate's that. If you're coming from Essex, you're going to be wary now when you're in Stratford because you don't have that in your area. For obviously a lot of these areas are outside of London. So obviously in that, you're gonna be like everyone's got like, you know what I mean, everyone's got like instinct to know that this is not a safe environment, this don't look right. Like I could walk into another area and be like, right, this looks nothing like where I live. And to me that's a lot, but then for someone else my area is a lot. So it's like you adapt to the area that you're in. Do you understand?
But I don't think that's street smart. I think street smart is
that's not street smart, but obviously you just know how to carry yourself. Like if you're walking around like you've got daisies in your head, you're obviously not paying attention to nothing. Now you're someone that could be targeting more, but if you're obviously paying attention, your guards up or whatever, that's still being street smart. There's obviously different levels. There's different levels to street smart though, that's the thing. But I'm saying that anyone that's coming from somewhere outside, I'm pretty sure the majority of people are going to be wary in another area that they're not from because you're not from there. Especially when you fit a certain category of people, so like a black boy will
I'm
agree with the specific area thing.
I
think street smarts is just a thing in general. You can live in any other country and still be street smart.
But you're only going to be street smart around your own area.
So the question is, right, is it a form of intelligence? That means, yeah, it is a form of intelligence. You know, it's almost like survival.
I don't think so.
Do you know why I disagree? Because
I don't think
do you know why it's intelligent? Because to even be street smart, you have to go through certain things and learn from them.
Exactly. That's why the coping in unstable environment.
That's intelligence to learn.
No, but if it wasn't for that, let's call that a simulator.
You're not intelligent.
If it wasn't for that simulator, you wouldn't know what to do.
What?
Let's call that a simulator, yeah?
Right,
if you're in an environment where you're learning these already, yeah, if it's an intelligence, it has to be learned. You learn from your environment. This is something you're learning through your environment. To be learning it is to be dealing with it. You are coping with it. This is you coping in an unstable environment. That's how you learn to be street smart in the first place. That's why there's people who are street smart and aren't street smart. I'm not saying it relates to the area still. I hear you when you say you can be street smart everywhere, but I don't hear that it's a form of intelligence. I think it's unstable.
If you was to go on holiday now to Spain, your mom's going to say to you when you're out there, make sure you're safe, make sure you're rare, make sure you stay. She's going to give you that talk. You can live anywhere and get that same talk. You're going to somewhere new. Like everyone knows, another area is another environment.
I'll be real. I feel like there's levels to street smart though, because
that's what I said.
I feel like obviously there's the street smart of like, cool, I'm in an environment that I'm not used to, that I don't know, and I need to act like I'm not foreign so that I'm not pulled out of the situation. But there's also the element of, okay, cool, I'm in an environment that I do know, so I know exactly what goes on. So you still need to be street smart in your own environment as well as other environments.
Of course, but if you do just break it down to something that's simple, for example, it's just survival instinct. If you just break it down to that level, survival instinct, you have to look like it's something that you can learn. For example, I'm from Croydon. I'm not going to go to, for example, here. I'm not going to roll around Canning Town like midnight. I'm not going to walk around at midnight loud on the phone. That is a survival instinct. That's survival instinct. That's street smart. That's knowing not to move a certain way in a certain area. And you would do that if you go on holiday, like you mentioned. If I go Spain, that's common sense.
I'll be honest. I feel like street smart is already pushed onto the male side.
Guys, okay, I'm gonna say black guys especially. You're gonna be more like self-aware about another group of black guys. Like realistically, like that's what it's gonna be. For girls, it will be if you guys now, let's say as an example, you don't go out on a Friday, you're wearing a short skirt, short top, you'd rather make sure that you stay with your group of friends. Or if you know you're by yourself, you're going home in a cab, you're not walking on the street, having to walk through alleys to get to a bus stop. It comes down to common
That's
sense.
what I say.
No,
Like,
but
if you
wait.
care-
No, that's
Okay,
what
cool.
wait,
You just
wait,
said it.
wait,
You
wait,
just
wait,
said
wait,
it.
wait,
Just said
you
it.
care about
Just
yourself
said it.
enough.
Just
You
said
care
it.
about yourself
So where do you
enough.
draw the line at common sense and being street smart? Because you just said it's common sense for a girl
Common
to know.
sense falls underneath street smart.
Wait. You just said.
All the same
No,
thing.
street smart
not
falls
the
under
same.
common
I think
sense.
it's all the same thing.
Being street smart is having common sense. That's what you lot are trying to say.
No, it's not. No, being street smart is simply knowing how to look after yourself.
But that's when you strip it down to survival instinct.
Yeah.
I'll be
It's not
real.
always based on
Let's be
survival
real.
instinct.
Take out having to survive, the
Okay.
survival part.
Right, cool.
It's just your instinct. Do you get it?
Right.
So without so you have to put the survival part of it
Yeah.
in order for you to be street smart. No.
That's not
Okay, so
right.
cool. So
Anyone can get
if you was a criminal,
Yeah,
you'd be in a predicament where you're constantly running from police. No.
yeah.
Okay,
But I could do that as
okay,
anyone.
so
I'm fast enough to get away. I could do that as
if you're not a
anyone.
criminal, why would police be coming after you?
Yeah, but if they weren't to chase
Okay,
me,
so my question
I could
was,
get
if
away.
you was a
You don't have to
criminal
be street smart.
and police are coming after you and you're running from police, what's the difference in that? Then you trying to escape.
How's that to do with street smart?
What?
What's the question?
Yeah,
Wait,
wait,
so
you
we
just-
just-
we've
do
gone
you hear an
left.
example?
Yeah,
I want to say my point, yeah.
Yeah, what we just
Leveling with what you guys were saying about the idea of survival instincts, yeah. And then also leveling with Tashai's point about
Hold on,
street
pause.
smart.
Say that again.
Wait, nah,
Say
stop,
that again.
Tashai, wait.
It's not that deep.
Wait, nah. No way else really comes up like that.
It's actually not that deep.
I'm sorry.
What's
go
that
on.
called? Leveling with that idea that there's levels of street smart. When it comes down to survival instincts and how you react in a situation where fight or flight does kick in and situations are based on your livelihood, I do push that down to common sense, and I understand that you can learn that because that is something can be basically taught.
Yeah.
But thinking of higher levels of street smarts,
Yeah.
as in now pushing into certain neighborhoods, certain areas, certain demographics living in certain areas, pushing stereotypes, seeing all of that, how to deal with that in your neighborhood, that falls down to the upbringing in that type of neighborhood.
No.
I would still say that's a
Wait,
form of
you know what-
intelligence.
I was gonna say
I think
because
it's
you said at higher level initially to
You
start
have
the
to
point.
be in
You
that
said there was
lifestyle
some
to be
sort of
on that high
intelligence.
level.
So to be
Not
at a high
really,
level,
no.
that means you have to have a
Yeah,
high
Yeah,
level.
but
That's
that's
not
what
right.
I said.
That's why I said,
Well, that's
listen,
not
listen.
realistic.
Tashai,
That's not
Tashai,
realistic.
Tashai.
That's not realistic.
We're not talking about
not every-
everybody.
not
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a
Right.
1%er, there's a 5%er that has street smart. There might be some guy that's way more street smart than someone else.
Anyway,
But
back to
it's-
what I'm saying.
Tashai,
You still
Tashai,
have to have a
listen,
level of
wait.
intelligence
Tashai,
to even be
you
street
Can I say
smart.
something?
Hey, let's say,
You cannot
me and
expect-
Sean,
What you
could
saying?
have the same knowledge of what the roads are, whatever the case may be. Shells could be involved in it, I could not be involved in it.
Yeah.
You can
Now,
be
if
somewhere
some-
at the
if
wrong
people-
place at the
yeah,
wrong
okay,
time
and
still be
Shells will
involved
know
in it.
to run
That's not-
away.
Okay then.
Shells
So
will
no,
know
no,
Shells
no.
will
You
know
still
to
have to
run
be
away.
street smart to get yourself out of that situation, no?
If you're
But
innocent, you're
then,
innocent.
Guys.
if you're freezing, that's your
Guys,
that's
your
not
point
about
don't mean
street
that.
smart.
Because you said if
It's
you're,
not valid.
you,
But are
you
you trying to
literally just
say you
said
have to only
if
have
you're not
experience
involved
to be
and
street
then you
smart?
get
You have to
caught
have
with
experience.
something.
I'm saying
Cool. So what I think is you can gain wisdom through your experiences, but you can also gain intelligence just from educating yourself. You don't need to be in those type of environments or demographics to understand the social norms of things. So both things can be true.
No, thank
That's
you.
that.
Can I just say one
Wait,
thing?
one.
No, let me-
I do agree with you to a point because I feel like yes, in your mind, even though you might not have been in that situation, in your mind you might think you know how that situation will play out. But I'm
there's
telling
actually
you,
no way.
when
That's
you
why
get on
there's
your
levels.
10 toes, yeah, but when you get on that, when you're actually on that level,
Good example. So two people could be carrying a knife. You're carrying a knife for your safety, know it with the intention that you're going to use it if someone comes to you. One person always ends up getting stabbed. Why is that? Because that person, they could have come for you first. It's about your reaction time. It's about so many other things. It's not about being street smart. Like being street smart, don't get out of every situation. Like life is actually life. You don't get out every scrape, no matter how fucking intelligent you are. You hear all the shows that you watch, like Power or whatever. The top boss ends up dying. Why? Because life catches up with you. Like so, you can't avoid everything. You know what I mean? So it's not all down to being street smart. I could be here walking like this. Someone runs up to me and it's like shit. I've jumped. You're gonna jump first. It's a shock. In that time, you stab me. Do you think I'm gonna just be someone that's gonna be like, he's there, let me run? No, I'm gonna think about running, but before that, I've got to react. That reaction could cost me my life. It's not about street smart. Like, unless you're putting street smart down to something specific, then I don't hear what you're saying.
can I ask
Yeah.
a
I
question?
do put it down to
I- I-
specific
I-
things.
topic.
I do put it down to specific things. When
Now,
I say
what's
on
that?
a level,
Like, what is it?
Because
What,
you're
there's
arguing a
nothing-
whole. You're
Like, what's your
arguing a
definition
point.
of street
Yeah.
smart?
my
Yeah,
street-
Sorry,
my
wait,
definition
I
of
want to hear
street
Ocean.
smart-
Sorry, my bad.
Okay, yeah, go on.
I low-key think that being street smart is more of an attribute and the intelligence comes of how you deal with the situation. Obviously, like you said, and like you said, it's like you said, you don't know how you're going to react in the situation, but the level of intelligence, in a way, will kind of guide you. Like you said, wisdom as well, that plays a big part in it. So I don't think it's like how intelligent you are is how street smart you are, if that makes sense. Because like
Based on how much experience you've had. Based on the
and also like I don't think it's
So we're agreeing.
I think
them.
it's the point. There was
Too bad.
What?
It's too bad.
Listen,
Your mouth.
And there was a part of the question. The end of it.
Or if it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a coping mechanism anyway. However, I feel like everyone's level of intelligence will teach them how to. I can't word it properly, but like everyone's level of intelligence will teach them how to cope with it differently. Because I could be from south, someone could be from north, like Karen could be from north. Now, different areas, I might be street smart on the highest level of intelligence, but they might do things differently. It doesn't mean that I'm less street smart than the person that's there. Do you know what I mean?
Can I say something, please?
Are you trying to say it's a coping
I
mechanism?
want to say
Doesn't
something.
say it's a
think-
form of
I
intelligence.
want to say something.
Doesn't say
Are you
you
saying
say
coping mechanism?
Say that again.
I said
The question doesn't say.
says a form of
No,
intelligence.
I just said I was talking.
A real
Right.
form.
The question doesn't say coping mechanism. Is it coping skills from
Coping
unstable
skills from
environments?
unstable environment.
Now, when you look at coping, obviously coping survival, they crash into each other.
Okay.
Now, when I say street smarts, I hear what the boys are saying about in different events, anything could happen. A certain situation could be a situation that like duns you. It's different. But when you talk about street smarts, I want to talk about it like the idea of you growing up in, like, I want to nail it down to neighborhoods, demographics, and all of this, and how people grow up. And when you live in, like, say you live in a neighborhood that is like very heavily influenced by like drugs and whatnot, like very heavily influenced by crime. You living in that neighborhood will build up street smarts. This is not intelligence. This is because you've lived in the area. When you first moved there, you didn't. It's because
I don't
you've
agree
grown
with
there.
that.
Right. Wait.
Wait, can I say this?
Let me finish.
Go on.
This is what Destiny was saying about wisdom. Your wisdom guides you. When it comes to intelligence, when I think about intelligence, I think about something you can learn. If you was to train someone with the ideas to survive in this neighborhood, they wouldn't be able to do it as good as you in that neighborhood. Go on.
Okay, cool. We're talking about intelligence,
But
yeah?
that's
But let me give
Let's see the full question
wait.
again.
We're talking about intelligence, right? We're saying intelligence is something you can grow. Cool. Another form of intelligence, artificial intelligence, which is what? Talk, you know?
Hey, guys,
Talk, no?
wait.
I'm not dragging it. We're talking about, is it a form of intelligence? It is a form of intelligence.
Alright, cool.
That is learned from coping. Coping,
Wait,
yes.
can I-
You
wait.
get put into a situation, wait, let me land,
Yeah,
and then
go
you can
for
make
it.
your opinion.
Go for it, buddy.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks. Me.
You're killing yourself, right?
You are just
Don't let
me say what I'm saying. The question, let me read back the question, and I'm answering exactly what the question is saying. Nothing
Artificial
more. Shut up.
intelligence. Go back
Shut
to the
up.
point.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
What, ChatGPT?
Shut up. Anyway, is street smart a real form of intelligence? In my opinion, I do think it is a real form of intelligence.
Yeah.
Maybe not the standard form of intelligence, but it's still a real form of intelligence. It's a real life situation. It's a real life thing that happens. And do I think it's a coping skill from unstable environments? Yes, sometimes. Not every situation are you street smart because of an environment you've been in. Wait, shush, let me finish. No, I'm not done. Shush, thank you. Like I said, sometimes you're put into a situation where you have to learn and become who you are because of an unstable environment. That's not, shush, I'm not finished. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing, but I do think it does play a part in street smart. A lot of the time, street smart is learnt from being in a bad environment. So yes, it does play. It is part of a.
We never said it doesn't. We never said it doesn't.
I never said that you said. I'm just saying my opinion.
I hear what you're saying,
You can
innit?
finish now.
But at the same time, I can't lie. There's people that grow up in posh environments. There's people that are nepo babies that still technically have to
Okay,
be
so did
street
you
smart.
hear me when I said
Yeah.
sometimes plays a
Yeah.
part? Okay, I'm
She's
glad
not-
everybody
I
else.
I
I'm glad everybody else
I
like
don't
that.
think that like obviously the environment does like it plays
Ever.
a factor, innit?
Ever.
So what?
The environment never plays a factor.
No, I said it does play a factor.
Okay, so
Like, obviously, if you weren't exposed to certain things, you're gonna have to.
so what did I just say?
She said that.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, so
I
you're
was
trying
like,
to disagree.
I was
You're saying
like,
it. You're
I was
saying it.
like,
You just want
The question is street smart? Is being street smart a real form of intelligence,
Yes.
or just
Yeah.
coping skills from unstable environments?
It-
The short answer is street smart. Okay, cool. Is like survival instincts in a way. So you can learn about situations, but it's all down to experience. So cool, you're talking about different levels, this situation, but it's all down to experience. So yeah,
which is a form of
Yeah,
intelligence.
but it's
Yeah, so you can.
So what did I say?
gain
So what?
intelligence
Wait,
from
question.
the
So what did I say?
So you're not answering.
Listen,
You're
are
not
you
answering
hearing the
the
question?
You're
It
not
says
answering the
correct.
question.
No. Wait.
It says
Correct. Wait.
You're right.
Just show us. Ask the question. No, just
To you,
there's
in
two.
general.
No, just to me. There's two questions in there, right?
No, not
No,
really.
read.
So how I understand that question is being street smart. So I think street smart is like having survival instincts when you're out on the road by yourself. So I think this question means, do you just have it because of what you've been through, so trauma, or can you like learn how to carry yourself on the street? And I think you can do both. It's down to experience, but you can learn. But it is down to experience.
Exactly. What I
Yeah.
my point is, the reason why I said what, can I say one thing? The reason why I said what I said was, the first thing she said was, nobody answered the question. I said, babe, I just answered the question for you. Yes, hold on.
You said you're right.
That was my point. I didn't say you was wrong.
Listen to the word.
I have a
Shush. Listen to the word or. It's asking you, is it based off of intelligence?
Did you hear
or
what I said?
I'm not talking to you. I'm
Okay
talking to
then.
everyone.
Well, okay then.
It's,
So you are talking to me. Smart.
it's not
Keep
just
going.
you. Anyway, the rest of the question is saying, or is it down to it being based off basically where you're from, your environment, your experience? No. That's what we were saying in the beginning.
ask a question to
So what
everyone?
you're rebuttaling, what I'm trying to
So
say, what
you,
you're
when you hear
rebutting
or in a
was
question,
correct.
is that an open or a closed question? Does that a question
Or is
wait,
asking you-
because you're sitting, bro, we're
Or
sitting
is
here,
this
bro,
or
me and you
that?
had a conversation, yeah? And we've understood what we're talking about, right? We've understood that we're both saying, yes, street smart is a type of intelligence, and sometimes, yes, it does play a part.
Yeah.
Or doesn't mean it has to happen. Or means it's an option, correct?
Okay,
Shush,
That's
okay then. So you're sitting here.
Right.
Bro,
Wait.
you're not even listening.
Right.
You're
The
answering the
idea
question,
of
not even
all,
listening to you.
to shy away. The idea of all, being, is it intelligence or is it just coping skills?
Yeah.
I understand, obviously now from hearing, I understand what the boys are saying by intelligence, because to cope is to
You're just
learn,
fucking
and to
wrong
learn
with
is to
shit.
become intelligent. I hear that point. I'm also here to try on saying, if you take out the or, both
I'm not
factors
saying, I'm
play
not
a
saying
part.
take out the or. I'm saying to you,
Oh,
it's
you are.
or closed. It's or a
If you take
closed
out the or,
question.
both factors are
Yeah.
included.
You're
Like Destiny
saying
said,
that,
your
but we're trying to
environment
explain it,
affects.
but you're not hearing
But it's
what
not
we're
one or the
saying.
other. I'm trying to tell you, it's not one or the other. No,
Wait, I have a
wait. Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Wait,
You're still wrong.
we let you down bare. No, let us actually land because we let you down bare.
Bare.
Go on.
Because
No,
you're wrong.
actually stop. Wait, because we're agreeing. Yeah, we're agreeing.
What?
It can
So
be-
what's wrong when you admit to being wrong?
Yeah, wait, let me land. So we're
What?
agreeing.
No.
Yes. So
Wait,
let's say it can be a coping skill, right? It can be, yes. We're all agreeing it can be, but if you want to pick one, we'll just say intelligence. Truthfully, if you do have to pick one, it is intelligence. Because it's still, experience is still from intelligence. So if you got to pick one.
So like I said, your or is closed then, because it's one or the
Wait,
other.
can I say something?
That's not all me. Yeah.
The reason why Tashai is saying this is because Kyra said we're not answering the question. Now, nobody's wrong in this situation. Yes, the or, she's not saying you guys are wrong. I know you guys are saying she's wrong. However, the or is one of the other. Wait, no. The or is one or the other. However, from one option to the other option, it kind of like you can kind of like go over a bit. It will still tie
Can I
into
tell
the
you what
same
the answer
thing.
is for that? The answer for that is, yes, it comes down to intelligence, but people who grow up in a certain environment where this happens develop a different type of street smart because they're within the environment. That's your answer.
Okay, can I
And
ask-
the byproduct may
Wait,
be,
without
and I
arguing,
disagree with
without-
that.
wait,
Let me add to this
wait,
point. The
without arguing, can I
byproduct
ask
may
you a
be that
question?
it's a coping
Without arguing, can I ask
The
you
byproduct, yeah.
without asking you a question, without arguing, can I ask you both a question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The environment you both grew up in, you didn't really have to go through like stealing and stuff or shaky environment. Everything you had was provided for you, right? So cool. Now if I turn around and turn it to you and say, cool, I didn't have that. I didn't grow up like that. Am I more street smart than you?
Maybe.
No,
Yeah.
maybe, but then
Okay then,
but if I
wait.
decided to
But if
steal,
you're
then
now
I
saying,
wouldn't-
wait,
Yeah,
shush, let me land.
Yeah, go.
So now if you're saying that it's based off of solely
Yeah, but
what
somebody
happens,
could tell them how
Then
to
you're what-
deal with that situation, and they
Exactly,
would know how
yeah.
to deal
Okay,
with it.
but then
That's
that's
why it comes
Because it can still
to
be learned just because you have more experience.
I'm not saying that. I'm not.
That's what
I'm
I said.
literally not saying
Intelligence,
that.
intelligence.
I'm-
I could know how to steal. It's common
The
sense.
first thing I said is
bring my
intelligence
cookie, I
is
make
something
sure
that you
don't come
learn.
here.
No, that's the
Yeah.
first. That's the first sentence I said. Intelligence
Yeah.
is something that you learn.
And your
Okay?
intelligence
So
is
at
not
no
something
point
you
have I
learn.
ever said that intelligence is not something you learn. However, you said that street smart is built from what you grow up around, correct? And your environment. Yes, that's what you all agreed and said.
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah.
Okay. So now I just sat down and I told you that cool. Our lifestyles were different. The way I had to find food when I was younger and the way I had to grow up was different. So does that make me more street smart? Now it's ooh. The
Yeah,
answer,
maybe.
your answer,
Yes, maybe.
your answer, no, your answer
might
should be,
be.
no, stop. Your answer should be yes. Do you know why? Because you were
I just said that.
you were so strong on the fact of, oh, your environment is what shapes you to be street smart.
You're
So
not
your
listening to me.
Your
I said
answer,
yeah.
no.
Still not-
The same way
still
there was
not
no grey
saying- still
area
not
when
saying
I
that.
said about
Yeah.
war. There's no
Yeah.
grey area here. It's yes or no.
I just
Okay,
said
then
yeah.
you don't like, huh?
I said yes like
You're-
5
So
minutes
I'm more
ago.
street smart than you.
Maybe yes.
No, it's not maybe. It's yes or no. The same way.
That's still not the question.
You could be though.
It's still not the question.
Wait. Let me just debunk this.
Yeah.
You see why Shell said maybe? Shell said maybe is because whilst you're in that environment, whether you choose to adapt is your choice.
Okay, so it's
that's
a grey
you
area, right?
learning. That's
Which
where
way
the
is it?
intelligence
That's the
part.
He said, this is a question about one or the other, yeah? We said intelligence is it overruled.
Right.
But we know there's factors to it being like street smart based on where you come from.
Yeah.
You can't disregard what real life is, but everyone has intelligence. Everyone will know, anyone with real intelligence will know how to carry themselves in certain settings. Why are we acting like you have to be raised in the fucking ghetto to understand how to move around life? No, it's not.
Of course.
The fuck? These posh people, they knew how to move around life. That's why they got to where they are.
That's why it's
what's the confusion?
That's what makes it intelligent.
What's the confusion?
That's
It's
what makes
intelligence.
it
You knew how to move
Yeah.
around. This is where you
If
were.
we have to
My
pick
street
one,
smart
if
was
we have
going
to
to
pick
school,
one.
Yeah.
getting an education,
That's what
and
I'm
progressing in
saying. I
life.
think it goes.
The reason why you're arguing that is because your upbringing was this cool, but then yours, I still got street
You said
smart.
that was you and
Okay,
real. I was gonna have-
listen. If I was posh, I've got my posh way of street smart.
Posh don't mean
If
you
you're
shrunk,
if
you
you're
didn't
if you're living in the
Posh
ghetto
don't
and
mean
now
that you didn't
you're
shrunk.
fighting for food,
You
you've
can
got
be
your
posh
other-
now,
you've
but
got your
you have
other
shrunk
way.
up
You've
until
got your other.
you
You're not
came.
listening. You're just talking. Like you're just
Because you're
talking.
still arguing
You're
about
not
it.
listening. You don't want to hear no.
That's why I don't care.
You wanna hear
That's
everything.
why.
You wanna
You know
hear-
why?
I'm done.
When I answer the question,